Good afternoon or good evening, or rather, I should say. I guess it's 8 p.m. here on the East Coast. This is Alex with SFOI here for the Sports Fan Outreach International 1000 update. I have a special guest for you tonight, as you see on the banner. My friend Sam Wilking, who's out in Nevada, and we're going to get him on in just a few minutes and have him share with us a little bit about his ministry and what's going on out there in this great state of Nevada. But before I do that, I just wanted to give some shameless plugs to some things here Bill's got going on that I'm not directly involved with necessarily. Right here we got the Super Bowl coming up in Vegas this year. It's going to be February 8th through 11th. I just want to recommend that to you if you want to get started in evangelism, never have been involved in anything. I would recommend that event. And we also have coming up here the Grey Cup in Canada, November 16th through 19th. That's up in Ontario. Of course, you'll need a passport if you want to go join Bill for that, but he'd be glad to have you. So there's one other thing there. Let's see what else we got here. Got the Pan American Games, October 20th through November 6th in Chile. Actually, they're down there now. Got a team down there, so I know you can't join them at this point, but you can pray for those folks. I don't remember how many of the teams down there, couples down there that was on I was on the team with at the Super Bowl last year. Great couple, so be praying for those folks as they're out ministering the gospel. And I show you all that just to let you know that, things are going on everywhere. The gospel's getting preached. God's working, and we're thankful for that. And here on this live update, we typically focus on football, NFL, and college football here in the States. And we're nationwide, as you'll see. We have folks all the way from North, South Carolina, all the way out to California, all across the country, different places. We don't have all the venues covered at this time, but we're working on it. And one day, hopefully, we'll reach that goal. But without further ado, I'm going to go back and I'm going to get Sam and bring him on, and we're going to hear from him a little bit about what he's been up to. Give me just a second here. There he is, Sam. I think you're muted, brother.
Oh, hey, how's it going, brother?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good, doing all right.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on here with you. I'm doing well. It's about my bedtime here. I'm old, it's 8 o'clock, but I might make it.
Well, I still got daylight, so.
Yeah, I see the sun's still up over there. It's dark here.
It's 5 o'clock here.
That's
5 o'clock somewhere.
That makes great technology, right? We can communicate and get together even around the world if need be. So that's a great thing. Well, brother, I appreciate you coming on. I'm just going to, and I sent you, I think, questions kind of what we're going to cover. And I'll just run through and ask you and let you share with us and let everybody hear about what's been going on with you. But first of all, I'd like to kind of get a salvation testimony, how God saved you, if you want to share that with us a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So I grew up in a Christian home. I grew up in Mebane, North Carolina. I was in a Christian home and raised in a Reformed Baptist church, and just early on I heard the gospel in my childhood. I was under a solid preaching ministry, and but of course early on in my youth, or when I was like 10 or 11, I just started getting more rebellious, starting to harden my heart against the things of God and the truth of the gospel, and figuring it was kind of like too hard to get saved, and really not understanding. I guess it wasn't really understanding the gospel fully, just understanding the term of repentance, understanding what I really need to do to be saved, instead of most people kind of give you the impression it's just ask God to save you and that's it. But there's much more to it. I feel like that's usually what most churches just do in your childhood, just ask God to save you, and that's kind of it. But there was so much more to that, and so I would enter middle school, and when I was in middle school, I had this Sunday school teacher who started to influence and try to reach out to me. And when I was in, or it was like when I was in 5th grade, I would not really want to have my Bible around, so I'd just leave it in the Sunday school classroom and then just leave. So it was there all week. And so as I left it there, I would, or it was funny, like I'd come back and there was this new guy who was or he was like taking over the other Sunday school teacher, and so he tried reaching out to me. And then it was funny, after one evening service, he was like, "Here, you left this in the Sunday school room," and handed me my Bible back, and little things he was trying to do to break through to me, I guess. And so, it was helpful. It was like he was pointing me to Christ, and I was starting to get on the right direction. But for the most part, as a person, I was just rebellious. I had terrible language. I was swearing a lot. I was just not really seeking the Lord, seeking worldliness, and partially seeking the Lord, but also worldliness. And
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so then over time in high school, the Lord started to work in me. It was like January of 2012, and I was like, let me just start in Genesis, just read through the Bible, and I just started going a chapter at a time, and there was this conviction that the Lord started to build in me. Oh, sorry, babies.
That's all right.
Little boy.
That's a great
Little
sound.
boy.
First captain sounds of life, right?
Yeah. You okay, buddy? All right. You okay?
Maybe he wants to get on the line here and talk a little bit.
Sorry. Anyways, yeah. So then, as over time as I was reading the Bible, just this conviction of sin just started to build. I mean, it was like you kind of read the sins early on in the book of Genesis, and it just kind of you start getting awareness.
Describing for you.
Yeah. All right. You can sit here for it. Okay.
Yeah, bring the baby on. There we go. Hey there.
This is my son Japheth. Say hi.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then one night the Lord just kind of broke me down in my sin, and I just cried out in repentance. Really, nobody really taught me the term or anything. Just I guess the Spirit worked in me to just cry out to the Lord and rely on Him to save me and change me. And then the next day I just woke up really a new person. And so it's been a slow progression. So that's how I came to faith in Christ. And just over the years, it's been, you've had ups and downs, sometimes some backslidings or just seasons where just trying to figure out how to kill sin and live for the Lord. I've been walking in the faith for 11 years now. So it's been
good deal.
You go through a lot of ups and downs.
So it's like I've said this probably a million times on this live broadcast, but one time I was at the VA in the chaplain's office, and he had a cartoon, and it said, "My plan is had a straight line going, from here to there." Then it said God's plan. It was like up and down through valleys and hills and stuff. So yeah, life is a ride. I always say that I'm just riding the ride half the time to see where it goes. But cool, great story, man. So how long have you been doing evangelism?
I've been doing evangelism since 2019, I believe. Yeah, like January 2019, I really got into it. It was like 2018, I started to I took interest in it. So I do have a cousin named Stephen Ely. You probably met him down there over in Atlanta.
Yeah, I know that name.
Stephen Ely. He's got the big guy with the beard, but
yeah,
he goes to Praise Mill. But so I seen him street preach sometimes on Facebook, so he kind of had that influence. But then there was also a funny story. I was working at Arby's. It'll sound funny. I was working a fry station, and I look over, and there's this guy with the Living Waters T-shirt on, and I obviously paid attention to that stuff. And I told him I love that shirt, and he's like, "Oh, you know these guys?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so we just exchanged contact information, and it's my friend Rodney Davis. He used to really be involved in in street preaching, and so he connected. He took me out to an abortion mill a few months later. So he took me out to the one in Greensboro, and then eventually took me to the one in Raleigh. And so that was interesting. I got a little exposure to a little bit of open air preaching, and then I got into this weird depression stage. It was like the season where I didn't do so well in college, and I had to stay home and do college at home and stuff, and it was wasn't getting much fellowship, wasn't really doing much with my life, it felt like. And so I don't know, just the Lord kind of stirred in me it was in January or something, just start going to the abortion mill. So it was like a cold rainy morning. I just go out to the Raleigh abortion mill, and there was Zach Brady. He was there by himself. He was preaching the gospel, and I just started joining him. He started teaching me how to street preach there, and then eventually I met another guy named Greg Stevens doing abortion clinic ministry, and so then he got me hooked with God. I connected with Gospel of God Ministry as well with Tommy Waltz.
Yeah.
So I started to talk with him sometimes at the abortion mill, and then at St. Patrick's Day weekend in 2019 was my first time actually open air preaching on a street corner. So Greg kind of showed me how to do it. So it was downtown Raleigh. He was showing me how to hand out gospel tracts, and it was wonderful because in most church, in the church I was from, it seemed like evangelism seemed like a hard thing. Nobody knows how to start conversations, and that's always the thing people ask: how do I start conversations with people out with the gospel? And you never really get a clear answer. It's kind of like the friendship evangelism sort of method. But here it was so different. It's just, hey, would you like good news? Start a conversation. And then he put me on a street corner, and he had a step ladder. I think he had a step ladder. No, actually, it was interesting. So he actually did a method where he took a skeleton and he covered it with a sheet, and so just kind of a reminder to everybody that in less than 100 years you're going to die. So it's funny, all the drunk crowds walking by and seeing that was pretty funny. But I got to preach the gospel there. I had a few rough confrontations. Like one guy came right in my face, and it was crazy. He was screaming in my face. He's like, "I'm a Christian, but this is BS, and I believe in love, 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 love." And he was yelling "love, love, love" down the street. And
I think I met that guy.
He was also getting, probably like every single heckler, but so that was interesting, getting that in my face interaction sort of deal. So I just stuck with it, and over time I made a determination just wherever I'm living just to bring evangelism to it. So I really didn't see too many people open air preach in my area, so I kind of started getting involved in that. So I eventually start preaching in downtown Graham or different events. If there was really good events going on at like parades or something, I just learned to find those events, go to them, and street preach. And been doing that ever since.
That's cool. And you kind of hit on this too, but the first time you open aired there, was it what was going through what kind of emotions did you go through before you started? Was it scary or nervous or?
Yeah, it's intimidating. Yeah, I mean, you're going to talk to them, like, am I going to say the right thing, and am I going to be able to talk to people the right way? But soon enough, you learn. I mean, even apart from the street preaching itself, it was the conversations. You kind of fear that, like, am I ready for this? Really, when you're new to evangelism, it's like, but the Spirit of God really, like, just, it's something the Spirit does to you. Like when people start confronting you, he just takes Scripture and puts it to your mind, and if you've been in the Word, like, you just know how to answer them, and it's just like the Spirit just helps in certain ways just to talk to people. But then over time, it's just a learning process. Really, you just learn from different conversations and then study it and go on to you come across it again. But before open air preaching, it's just like it was nerve wracking. It's what's going to happen? Am I going to say the right thing? And am I going to be okay? But the Spirit really just kind of carries you. I mean, you're going to first timer curveballs. I mean, Greg was kind of like encouraging me. It's like, hey, what about this? Talk about this. Say that. And he was trying to show me the ends ropes of it. And Greg Stevens is a great street evangelist over there.
Yes, I think we all kind of experience the same kind of thing. That's why I like to ask people how that is, because of course it encourages people too that are at that stage where they're like, well, I want to do this, but I'm scared and don't think I'm ready and stuff. But I think it's like anything else, just you learn by doing. I mean, sure, you're going to make mistakes and stuff, and even after years of doing it, you still make mistakes. At least I do. I don't know about everybody else. I'm certainly far from perfect, but that's cool. All right, let's get into this. Tell me how you met Bill and got involved with sports fan outreach.
So I came across sports fan outreach. I was when I first started here.
Oh, he's leaving us, man.
When I first started, I was. When I first started, like, it was back in 2019. I went to the G3 conference, and actually, I met, there was Bobby McCreary there. There was several other street evangelists that I was kind of hooked up to that year a little bit, and I think there was a sports fan outreach booth. I think I came across it, and I had a pamphlet for it, and I've kind of heard about it. I knew about it, and then I think Rodney Davis mentioned it to me before, the guy who first introduced me to street preaching. I think he did the horse racing. Sorry, it's been a while since
Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, sorry, I've not heard of that thing in a long time for some reason. But so he told me how he I think he went there and did street preaching there, and how great it was. And I also met Tony Miano. I knew he was involved with some of the stuff as well, and so a few big name guys that were involved with it. And so then eventually I contacted Bill, and I was interested, and so he told me about it. He kind of helped try to push me more into evangelism, what to do, get involved, and practice, and over time, and then eventually I decided to volunteer with the whole football thing, and later that year I volunteered to do Elon University. So Elon University was the college closest to me. So it was right near Burlington, North Carolina. And so I dedicated to go to the home games and preach the gospel. And so that's pretty much how I really started getting connected with Bill. And he's always been he checks on you, and he prays with you every week, and it's always been wonderful.
Yeah, that's a nice way of saying it. Bill keeps me going the right direction. And it reminds me to do things, which is good. I like it, because I need reminding because I'm busy like everybody else. But okay, so you started out there, and now you live in Nevada. So how'd that transition? Why are you in Nevada? I guess how'd you get there?
Yeah, so Nevada's a big jump. But I met my wife online. We were dating online. We met in 2018, and I visited a few times. I visited in 2019 and 2020 as well. I came out here and visited, got to know her friends and family, and then 2021 I decided in 2021 to make the move out here to pursue marriage with her, and so made the move out here. It's been a big adjustment the last 2 years, so I feel really. The last 2 years, there's a lot of distraction from the ministry, so I wasn't really able to focus on street evangelism. I had to church life experiences weren't as I expected sometimes, and then we had, we've just been focusing on the marriage, getting the family right, and living situation has been hard too. So that was really hard at first, just figuring out where to live and figuring out employment, and so there's just those big adjustments that just kind of held things back from me being able to recommit. But just the Lord's really pressed on me this past year. I feel like it's just like the Lord's just awakened me out of that slumber, put me back out. So,
I'm glad you did. So women make us do some crazy things like move across the country, right?
Yep.
Well, I told her I wanted to move there, but he didn't.
Yeah, you should have come to Carolina. It's better food.
We lived in which is because of my job. We lived in Arizona for about 4 years, a while back.
Yeah,
and we liked it out there. It was good. It was a good time. That's where I actually. Well, I won't go into my story. This ain't about me. It's about you today. So I'll save that for another day.
No, I love Arizona. I've been out there. It's nice.
So
I went down.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was saying in 2020, I actually drove down there on my way back from Nevada. I stopped down there at Apologia and sorry, name doesn't come to my mind, but the guy who runs the Arizona games. Sorry.
Jesus, Matt.
Yeah, Matt Jesus. I met him, and he did open air preaching there as well. That was a fun experience.
Matt's a great guy. I like him a lot. I've been to several with him. All right, good deal, man. All right, let's get into our current situation at the Nevada games there. How's that been going? Tell us about your venue, how it's set up, the location, the foot traffic, and all that.
Yeah, so University of Nevada, it's not well known because the football team's kind of like hit or miss. They've had a pretty terrible season this year, but they're pretty bad. But they're so it's over in Reno. So you got, in case people aren't familiar, because most people when they think of Nevada, they think of Vegas. Vegas is like the big thing. That's so Nevada split up in half. You got south with Vegas, and we're up here. We're up on the very north with Reno, and the university there is the University of Nevada of Reno, and it's right there near downtown. It's a great location. Reno's an interesting city. It's kind of like describe it. It's like the baby Vegas, it's like baby Vegas, just a lot more homelessness and like the homeless situation's terrible. It's like nobody feels safe there anymore.
Oh wow!
But yeah, it's like you go to stores and stuff. There's always somebody overdosing outside or something. It's a pretty weird environment. That's
Or do they have like casinos
yeah.
or something up there, or is that limited to just
Oh,
Vegas?
there's casinos everywhere. I mean,
Okay.
airports,
Well, it's the whole
grocery
state of Nevada
stores,
that's got
every
casinos.
corner.
Okay, I got you.
It's like yeah, casinos are everywhere. I think it was funny my first time actually coming out, just stepping off the airport in Reno, and you're met with casino machines.
That's the same way in Vegas. I used to fly to Vegas once a month from work from when I was in Arizona. Same thing. Step off the plane, there's nothing but slot machines everywhere in the airport.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. We got a circus as well up in Reno. So,
oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. There's circus there too. Yeah. So anyway, so the University of Nevada, Reno, it's a good location. So actually, one of the only few places you can publicly speak is actually in front of McKay Stadium. So we've got that advantage. It's been kind of tricky figuring out a spot because there's not like a big open sidewalk area to really figure out from because there's a lot of foot traffic. There's like a bunch of tailgaters where we're at. So I've kind of had to figure out a small spot on a corner and just kind of work with it the last few weeks. It's been a lot of figuring out when to go, or like when to arrive. It's been a lot of just learning, because the traffic will sometimes be heavy one game and then it's light the next game. So like the first home game, that was a lot of traffic, and figuring out where the free parking was a little challenging. Yeah. And then the second one was easier, so we got there much earlier. But the first game though, we got a lot of it was a lot of very interesting. We didn't get too much time to street preach because we got there a little late, but when I did though, there was a lot of people listening. There's people walking by. Okay. Some people want to interact. People were taking gospel tracts, and then the second time we showed up, people were taking gospel tracts as well. People were listening, and they had like a 3-game break from home games, so they had 2 road games and a bye, and so then 2 weeks ago we went back, and it was actually, that one was much different. So I street preached for a good while, and then eventually there was this drug dealer that was in line. So I'm right in front of the gate, and there's this huge line of people waiting to get in, and so all of a sudden you see like this police officer pull up, and this person was pointing out a guy to him, and then they try to arrest him, and then he maces 2 of the police officers, and apparently he had like 5. He apparently had 5 dogs in his car, and so Animal Control was trying to get that. And he had a bunch of pot plants in his car. And
he had it going on.
It was just so I had to stop preaching because there's just like all these cop like it just turned into a big crime scene all of a sudden. But yeah. That was crazy, the last game, and then we actually went into the game to watch the game. We've kind of been going also to tickets are cheap, just kind of just while we're there, just to have a little fun. But it was insane because in the upper section there was this massive fight that broke out. But everyone goes in there really drunk.
Yeah,
they go in super drunk. Like, I mean, there was a group of Hispanics that were standing next to us, and they were just downing a whole box of Modelo's, just trying to before they go in.
That's interesting. I haven't seen anything like that really happen at UGA. I mean, there's drunks come by and stuff sometimes, but it's a little different.
Yeah,
we got a great place for everybody who's kind of phoned in right there where we're at. So it's interesting.
Yeah, actually, where I had the free parking. Actually, my first time, the second game where I parked. So I parked in the free parking area. It seemed like a good place, but apparently that's where all the fraternities have their parties. And so I went back to put my stuff back in the car before I go back into the game, and it's just like this massive just jump around party. Just everyone's getting hammered and drunk and crazy. I was like, man, I should have been preaching here, but my free speech zone is by the stadium. But it's just crazy, it's massive worldliness, just drunkenness, and
so in the whole town there, you can't open air preach only right there by the stadium. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, that's just the campus area. So it's a public university, but university wise, that's where. I mean, Reno, it's like there's the town, and then it's like the university's like north of the town a little bit. Okay. So, yeah.
Make sure I understood clearly. So can you use amplification with no problem by the stadium and stuff, or?
Yeah, nobody stopped me. Police have watched. People have driven by a lot. So right in front of the stadium. And it's also cool because sometimes you'll get the visiting team coming in. Lots of visiting fans. Like the Kansas game. You get to see the Kansas bus drive in. I mean, even the Kansas mascot was walking around stuff with cheerleaders while I was open air preaching. So yeah, and it was it was cool.
We have the
the last game was cool because we had
comes right by us when they come in, marching to the gate. Kind of interesting.
Oh yeah. Or even that game even earlier because we got there earlier. They've got this whole tradition of the band kind of walking around there. That area and playing for certain tailgate groups, and so I was actually open air in the middle of that sometimes, or I'll sometimes pause and take a break just to let them do their thing. I don't want to be too big of a distraction for people.
Right. So
you
have a little bit of sound competition, but not too bad, not all the time, constantly.
Yeah, I just take breaks and hand out tracks or something. But I have a lot of people walking by, so just try to. Some people encourage, like I think one Christian was like, this is really cool. You're doing this, and so
that's good.
Yeah.
So are people good about taking tracks, or is it kind of like everywhere else? Okay.
Yeah. So far, I've had more. I mean, it's been more than what I got at Elon. Elon University was a much smaller scale, so that was way different than this. I mean, this is like, even though this team is kind of terrible, they're getting like really big crowds. So, you've got a lot of people to try to interact with. Yeah.
Sounds like a good spot, a good venue. I'm glad you're there. It's a it's a good deal. Well, you kind of touched on my next question was about your previous ministry. You talked about that a little bit when how you got started and everything, but and other games you preached at.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give someone that was kind of looking to get started and didn't know how, what, where, and why to start?
I guess just start by getting connected with somebody. That's a good place.
Okay.
Or, I mean, you can also just look online, just look at the resources. There's plenty of examples of good street preachers. You just got to get over I think the big, it's just Christianity, modern Christianity. I think the big thing is the fear factor of people. I think that's the big hump everyone has to get over. Just, I'm scared to, like, am I going to look like a fool to everybody? Am I going to, are people going to make fun of me? I think it's that fear of persecution, that fear of looking ridiculous to bring the gospel to people. And the churches kind of give that view of it as well. So if you even bring up open air preaching, it's like, oh, those are crazy people on a street corner. So sadly, pastors aren't even encouraging it either. So you just gotta, just go out in faith. Just learn it. Learn. Find if there's mature men in your area that are doing it, hook up with them. If not, connect with people online who are doing it. Learn. And then grow spiritually over time. Really, for me, it's just been grow spiritually, grow theologically, and it's almost like street evangelism for me was like the gateway into ministry. So which sounds interesting. Like most people just jump straight into seminary. They jump into these other church programs, but when it comes to open air preaching, you then it just broadens your mindset of the world, what's going on out in the world, what are people thinking, what's their mindset, the sins that are so prevalent in the culture. Hold on a sec. Let me turn this off here. Sorry. Let me turn that off. Okay, yeah, so you get to see the sins that are prevalent in the culture, the different theologies that people have, the different religions you come across, and that over time just builds your theology. That over time you learn to go back to the Word of God. I mean, the more you have to confront other religions, other beliefs, other worldviews, you just go back to the Bible. You just study the Bible. You study Scripture more, and you just grow deeper in your love for Christ. And this burden for the lost grows bigger, and then eventually you have to study theology. I mean, it's kind of like, it's kind of a must I think with evangelism. There's lots of, I've used free seminary resources just to, learn the basics, I guess. And
I've experienced the same thing. It's like it drives you, just like you're saying, to your knees and to the Bible, because you're getting confronted by all these weird things that if you just go to church and sit on the pew, everybody's kind of the same, more or less. But you get out in the world, and it's like all these weird things coming at you, and people challenge your faith, and we want to have solid answers, like you say. So yeah, I think that's a great point that this does. It's like makes it a necessity to go and study more and to grow and to learn. And so yes, that's a good word, brother. That's
and I'd say cage stage evangelism is a very real thing too that you start out in, because you'll go out into the world passionate for the gospel, and you may be in a church that's not doing that, and then sometimes very asleep, and it's just kind of like you just want to wake everybody up, like, why are you asleep in here? You're kind of like, get out there,
Yeah, it can be early on. I used to get real frustrated, I guess, with folks, and it's just I finally, I guess, God changed my mind, and you can't force somebody to do anything. God's going to have to do a work in them like He did us to get them out and do it. But yeah, it's a good thing. I like to encourage them and try to get them over that fear hump too. So it's
yeah.
But you are definitely a weirdo. I mean, because I like to watch football. I like football and stuff too, and I'm out there and people are going about having a good time, and I'm this weirdo out there preaching to these people. So, but it's all good.
I'm a diehard Carolina football fan, so I love sports in general. So for me, this ministry was like right up there for me. I relate to sport fans. I understand who's going in there. So I really do love that opportunity to reach out.
And I understand too, because for me, sports used to be kind of it was an idolatry issue back before I was saved, and so I'm a fan from a difference. I still enjoy watching it, but I don't let myself get too sucked in because I don't want to go back there. Let it ruin my day.
I know.
Well, you wouldn't say that everybody going into a football game is an idolater then?
No, absolutely not. I've done it. I've gone into games as a Christian, just going to enjoy the day, just watch people. And I played football too, so it's just you just kind of go that thrill of watch people hit each other, and this. Yeah. It does become. So I would say it can become idolatrous. I've fallen into that trap. I think it's just this tribal mindset that humans have naturally that they get lured to. So sport teams get that opportunity.
Yeah, it's a good deal though. So last thing, I'll let you share whatever you want to. But what would you say were the benefits to getting involved with sports fan outreach? People might be out there saying, "Well, I can go do this on my own. Why do I need sports fan outreach?" What would you say would be a benefit?
Ultimately the connections, the prayer connections, the opportunities that are there. Just knowing, there's mission. It's a big. If you've not, as someone who's not been able to find missionary, like you've seen kids kind of like go to missionary trips or something like that and get involved in other things to kind of help people, like sports fan outreach is that big opportunity for anybody, I'd say. There's no loopholes unless you're living in sin and being a fake Christian, obviously. But with sports fan outreach, it's just they show you the opportunities, they show you where to go, they show you what or just even in your mind, if a place that's not reached to go to, and it encourages that to just wherever there's sports fans, wherever there are people gathering, it's an opportunity to preach the gospel. And then you have this connection, just all these evangelists all over the place. It opens the door to pray for them, pray for the gospel, and where to pray for the gospel in different places. Missionaries, and we've got people in Chile right now. That's crazy. Yeah. That's insane. And then just people are coming from all over to that location, and then they're going to hear the gospel and go back to their place.
Right.
And that's just an amazing ministry. And you'll just grow in experiences. I'm still going to get to those experiences. Lord willing, we'll be at the Super Bowl outreach. So that's over in my neck of the woods.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I plan on being out there. I'll see you out there, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I'm right there at the top of 9. Yeah, I'm right at the top of 95. Just got to go south.
Yeah, I have to get on the plane because I'm not driving that far.
It's still a big 6-hour hike though. So
it's 6-hour hike. Out west, it's funny because living in the South down here, the states are real close. But when I lived like in El Paso or Arizona, it takes you 2 days to drive across Texas. It's so big. So states out there are a little bigger than what we think of out here. So it can be in the same state and be a long ways off. I know that's true.
Well, when it's just a big dead desert between the two cities.
Yeah.
Like between here and there. It's
So you better
incredible.
have a full tank of gas, right?
Yeah, there's like one gas station in like one small old mining town, and then after that it's like this is the last gas for until you get like toward the military Air Force area toward outside of Vegas.
Yeah. That's a world out there where you're at. It's like living on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, brother.
Oh,
I
yeah,
won't take too much longer. I'll just open the door up and let you share whatever you'd like to about whatever, and then we'll let you go and get back to life there.
All right. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah.
So you got anything else you want to share with us before we go?
Oh, yeah, I guess it's just this ministry's just been a massive blessing for us, and if anyone's wanting to get into it, just go try it. Really, just be in prayer. Just get hooked up. Go get gospel tracks. Work your way into it and do it. And, we need men out there right more than ever. There's if you're fearing the Lord and your heart breaks for the lost, then go obey the Great Commission. We really need more men out there, and it's been life-changing for me spiritually. It really changes you as a Christian.
Yeah, I agree, brother. Good word. Well, hey, appreciate your time. Thank your wife for letting me borrow you for a half hour or so, and take care of that family out there. We'll be praying for you, and look forward to seeing you in Vegas there in a few months.
Thank you. I look forward to it too.
All right, brother. God bless.
All right. Lord bless you too, bro.
All right, folks. That's Brother Sam Wilking out in Nevada. Preaches to the University of Nevada fans, as we were saying. And we have other evangelists we were talking about earlier a little bit. So I'm going to go through the games coming up for the week. So I'm going to share this, and I hope. There we go. And I'm going to hide myself. Bear with me just a second. Technology. I'm challenged. There we go. All right, here we go. This weekend, college football. This is the 9th week of college football season. I can't believe it's gone by so fast so far. And it's the 8th week of NFL football season. We have several games here to go over. If you see here on the list, you can just follow along with me. Got Jacob Nelson, Illinois State. Kickoff there is at noon Central Time. Got John Crowder down in Florida, the great state of Florida, at the University of Central Florida. Kickoff there is at noon Eastern Time. Brother Joe Toy. Brother Joe's a great guy if you can ever get with him, and you can learn a lot from Brother Joe, and he does ministry all during the week every day. He looks like I see him on Facebook out there preaching the gospel places. So Brother Joe's going to be at North Carolina State game. Kickoff there is 2 p.m. Eastern, but if you can, really with any of these guys, you get with them, and they'll be a great blessing to you. Then Tommy Walsh kind of in charge of the team out there that Joe's a part of, I think, and he doesn't always go to the games, but he's kind of make sure somebody's there, I believe. It's his kind of his role. He's got a lot of other things going on. So 2 p.m. Eastern is that kickoff again. David Day, Brother David, he was on here with me a few weeks ago. Awesome brother down in Auburn, preaching to the Auburn fans down there at Toomer's Corner. If you've never been to Auburn, it's a great little city. Of course, I'm an Alabama fan, not an Auburn fan, but I love the little town of Auburn. It's a pretty city. Toomer's Corner is an awesome place to preach. And got some great folks down there. I got some high school friends that live down there now. I graduated high school with, and it's just a good little community. So if you ever get a chance to get down there with Brother David, contact him and just go down there and have a good time. It's a great experience, a wonderful place, like I say, to do ministry. Then we got Francisco Nieves out at the University of Texas. University of Texas kickoff there is 2:30 p.m. Central Time. Francisco, he's in the Navy as of right now still, I believe, and he's a great brother, great guy, great spirit about him, loves the Lord, loves the lost, and anytime you can get out there and be with him, it would be a blessing to you, I'm sure. Let's get page 2 of college football games here. Brother Austin Keeler up at the University of Louisville, kickoff there at 3:30 Eastern. Rod Grubb, he'll be at Boise State. Kickoff there is 3:30 Mountain Time. And Brother Rod will be on here with me next week as my guest, so I look forward to that. So tune in next week and we'll get to hear from Brother Rod. I don't know him real well, but I look forward to getting to know him. Brother Matthew Redondo, he's also a Super Bowl team leader this year. If you're looking for a team to be on, he'd be a great leader for you. He's out in Arizona at Arizona State University. Kickoff there is at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, looks like. And then Brother Pat Haggerty, another Super Bowl team leader. He's a great guy, a great brother as well. Sweet spirit with Pat. He's a wonderful person. He's Colorado State. Kickoff there is at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Devon Webb, University of Wisconsin. Kickoff there is 6:30 p.m. Central Time. And Brother Sam, who we just spoke with here, who we just had on the show, he's going to be at the University of Nevada. Kickoff there it's like 7:30 p.m., so it's a late game. But get with Sam. He'd love to have you out there. No, I believe his bride and his son may go with him too, or she may stay with the family or something. I'm not sure, but I believe his wife goes out with him. And so I'm sure they could use some help out there to pass out tracts to help him preach or whatever. So, Brother Sam, he'd love to have you with him, I'm sure. And there's probably other opportunities out there, it sounds like, in Reno to go and do ministry at as well. Then Brother Doug here down in South Atlanta, he'll be going to the Georgia Tech game. Kickoff there is at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Brother Doug's a great guy. Got to know him over the last few years. He does the Georgia Tech games, comes up also and works with Sterling at the Falcons game sometimes, and we do things together when we can. But he's a good brother too. So if you want to get involved down there at Georgia Tech, if you're down in South Atlanta, get with him. All righty, let's get to the NFL. Week 8 of the NFL season. Brother Heath will be doing the Green Bay Packers game. Kickoff there is 12 Central. We'll come back and talk about Heath in just a minute. A little news to share. Not news, but something to kind of talk about him about. We got Brother John Coble up in Nashville. The Tennessee Titans kick off there at 12 Central. Brother John's been preaching up there for a long time as well. So it'd be a blessing to you to get to know. And he's got a great spot up there, I think, on the pedestrian bridge, they call it, where he preaches and gives out tracts and stuff before the games. And Brother Brian Nine at the Colts game, kick off there at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Brother Brian, he's got a good team already. Pretty large team, I think, from his church that goes out with him. So thankful for that. But he can always take some more on to help you learn how to do this if you need some help. And Brother Mike Andrews at the Panthers game, 1 p.m. Eastern. Brother Mike is out there. It's his first year doing this, and so pray for him. And if you're in that area and would be interested in getting involved, just get with him or get with me, and we'll get you together. And I know he'd love to have a wingman out there with helping him with that. We got Brother Matt. We talked about a minute ago, Sam and I, Matt DeJesus out in Arizona Cardinals. Kickoff there is 1:25 Mountain Time. Brother Matt, awesome brother. Known him for several years now. Great brother. You'll love him if you meet him, I promise you. Great guy. And Brother Phil Green at the Broncos game, 3:25 p.m. Mountain Time. And so pray for all these brothers out there preaching at these games. And some of these guys, they have teams with them. They have other men with them and women passing out tracts and stuff. And so we're not just always alone. Like in Georgia at UGA, I have a team that goes out with me and brothers that come out. So I'm not alone there. I'm thankful for them. So pray for our teams and all those out there doing ministry. Pray for our team that's in Chile right now. Bill's got a team down there preaching. So be in prayer for them as they share the gospel. They felt led to get out there and get the word out. Let me hide this, get back on here so you can see my pretty face. But anyway, it's a blessing to be with you. I was going to get back to talk to Heath, or talk about Heath, not to Heath, but Heath does a ministry. He preaches at the Packers games. He's been a Super Bowl team leader as well. He's been to the Super Bowls as many times as I've been there, I think, at least in the last 7-8 years. I don't know how many years he's been going, but he teaches a class called Keep Your Finger in the Text. And the way this works kind of, and maybe he does updates on, I think, Tuesdays and Thursdays, something like that are live on Facebook as well. But he'll take you through the text, and it'll be a group of men. You'll go through the text, and you'll go through and learn how to prepare sermons. You'll find like a background text. You'll get the my brain has left me. I can't think of the word. The context, historical context, and all that. And you'll put it together and look at it and dig through and understand what the author is saying to his original audience and how that applies to us, and you'll find the gospel connection and be able to preach from there. And what it does for you, it's been a great help to me. It kind of keeps you focused when you're out on the street, and you stay focused. You have a text you're preaching from, and it just kind of keeps you going, and you learn so much. And he also does taking reps on Monday nights. I've been involved with that, where you go and a group of guys get together, and it's just like you all get together and focus on the same portion of text and talk through it and work through it for about 8 weeks and put together a preaching outline. It's been a great help. You'll enjoy it. The fellowship's great in the class. It's a loving environment. You won't get hammered for saying something if you think you're saying something wrong or something like that. It's not like that. It's a very loving environment, and Heath is a great facilitator, a great teacher. So I'd encourage you to get involved with that if you will. So there's all kinds of things at Sports Fan Outreach going on. There's, Bill goes to England. He's going to Africa, I think, and I've been to Mexico. He has, and Canada, the Grey Cup, and so and teams everywhere. So it's a big organization, and Bill's great at organizing things and motivating and encouraging and praying and everything for us. So if you're looking for a place with like-minded men who want to get out and share the gospel with the lost and dying world, and this is the place. So you can get with me or you can get with Bill. Go to SFOI.org, and you can go there and explore and see all the events, and Bill's contact info is there, I'm sure. Mine's there. So just let us know what you need and how we can help you, and just get you out here spreading the gospel. Like Brother said earlier, we need men out there doing the Great Commission, doing the gospel, going out there and preaching the gospel to all creation and making disciples and being the weirdos. It's okay to be the weirdo. Just and there are some weirdos out there, I'm sure, some out there that we wouldn't consider ministering with, but you can't lump everybody together. Just like there's good and bad doctors, good and bad lawyers, good and bad pastors, and all that stuff. Same thing with street preachers. There's just have to be discerning and check us out before you join us. I mean, feel free to do your due diligence and check everyone out before you link arms with them, obviously. But let's get involved. Let's get out there. Let's preach the gospel. Pray for these men out here preaching this weekend. We'll be up, one more thing, a shameless plug. I'll be with Brother Sterling up in Dawsonville, Georgia, where they have the Moonshine Festival up there. That's where, if you're a fan of racing, remember Bill Elliott? That's where he's from. And it's a big festival. They have all kinds of vendors set up. You can get food there. They have a huge car show, and it lasts for 2 or 3 days. And Sterling's been going up there for several years now, and there's some of us going to be up there with him and preaching the gospel, passing out tracts there. And so if you're in that area, come on over and check out some nice old cars and get a gospel tract, hear some preaching, and come and join us. And we'd love to have you up there. We're going to be there about 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. Looking forward to that. And then the following week, we'll get back into UGA football. We've been off for, I think, 3 weeks. This will be the 3rd week we haven't had a home game. So we're looking forward to getting back to Sanford Stadium and preaching out there to the fans and interacting with them. But pray for these guys. Pray for us tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but Saturday as we go up to Dawsonville. Pray for Chile. Just pray. If you can't do nothing else, you can certainly pray. So thank you for your prayers. We appreciate it so much. Thanks again for Sam, for you coming on and being with me. And let's get out there and preach the gospel until